What up, nerds, and welcome to another beastly bulging episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 512, recorded Sunday, January 19th, 2025. Tonight we're talking about a new release, Wolfman, that new Leigh Whannell joint. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy Randeezy. What's up, dog?
Holy jumped up ball-headed Jesus Palomino.
What's going on, baby? You ready to talk more Wolfmangs in this house? It's been a while. It's been a little bit since we covered a Wolfmang.
It's true. It might have been like The Howling 2 was the last one or something like that.
It would have been Silver Bullet.
That's
over that.
Yeah,
unless
call.
There's something between. Yeah.
Yeah, not too many werewolf movies come across the desk, but tonight we got one. We got one.
We got one.
We got him. Last but not least, calling in from Florida, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy Alpha Stains, ready to talk about some wolf culture with my boy Sigmund Bob and Lambda Randeezy.
Sigmund?
I'm a Sigmund.
Not Sigma.
Yeah,
Sigmund.
my boy Sigmund Bob.
Sigmund Bob. Sometimes a pipe is just a cock.
Damn. Oh, Alpha Stains. More like wolf culture, right? Wolf, man.
Wolf. Yeah, that's appropriate.
Wolf, man. It's
wolf culture.
The inflection really carries a lot of weight there. Before we get into Wolfman, let's tackle just a little bit of housekeeping real quick. We do have our February poll currently posted on our Patreon website. If you guys support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this February. The theme for February is modern sci-fi movies, and the three movies are Dark City, Signs, and The World's End.
Whoa, Bob, how those numbers looking?
That's Sigmund Bob to you.
Whoa, Sigmund, how those numbers looking?
They're looking mostly the same. A little bit of change. The World's End still in last place with 12% of the vote. Dark City, second place, 35% of the vote. Signs on top with 54% of the vote.
All right, it's loose on a little ground, but yeah, still on top.
Some dark horses still riding there, so
yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple more weeks. This is a long, bleak, dark month, so, you know.
Cold, horrible month.
Sure is.
Gloomy, depressing, crippling.
At least we got a great movie to talk about.
So, yeah, at least we got some good horror movies coming out in the theaters that we can count on.
January is famously the month for horror. We know that.
Every once in a while, you catch a baller movie in January, but it's not every year.
It's not.
It might not be this year.
You got your Megans, your Winchesters, you know.
Winchester.
Hey,
I
now
forgot that movie existed. That shit sucks,
dude. Megan, at least, was February, I want to say. So.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, and people love that shit. And
I know
sure
people do.
Wolfman. Get your votes in before the end of the month. We'll see what we're talking about this February. We're dropping mini casts every other Friday. Just had one drop this past Friday. Talking about Red Rooms. That's available on Patreon currently. And yeah, who would have thought there were so many different ways to interpret this film?
Yeah,
Slack was popping, man.
Slack has been popping ever since that dropped.
It had a lot of convo, man. We're going to have to figure something out with that.
We got to, because we are all over the place on that film.
Yeah, we did like a whole basic, like straight show,
yeah.
like in the Slack.
Yeah, on the Slack.
We wrote something. We wrote a couple essays worth of material just to argue.
And just throw that up on. We should copy and paste and throw that up on the website.
Oh yeah, we should just have AI read the thread. That's how we're going to release the episode.
Perfect.
Oh.
Check that out over on Patreon, available to you right now. The only other thing I got is at the time of you listening to this, Let's Get Physical Media would have just dropped a new episode. That's my boy Mikey and myself talking about Blu-rays, 4Ks, DVDs, sometimes some VHS as well. And where we just dropped our top 10 releases of 2024. So we each chose our top 10 movies of the year and talk about them.
Nice.
There's a lot of good shit that came out last year, like an insane list of stuff, actually.
Top 10 movies or like top 10 releases? Like what is that broken down by?
Just top 10 physical releases. So they don't have to be new movies, just anything that was.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. So check that out. Let's Get Physical Media everywhere you get your podcasts. Do you guys have anything you need to plug, talk about?
I do have some things I need to talk about. So I am going to be on a lot of features coming up, actually. And there's 2 available right now in a couple different ways. So if you will recall, I'm a bit of an Arctic Monkeys nut, as they say.
I recall.
And I have become good friends with the guys over at Don't Believe the Hype, a podcast that covers the entire catalog of the Arctic Monkeys. They are in their 4th season, covering the Arctic Monkeys' 4th album, Suck It and See. And one of them has been having some serious technical issues. So I've been kind of like filling in as they cover the B-sides.
It's a shame for that guy.
I'm sure you had nothing to do with the sabotage.
I had not. Yeah, sabotage in England. I have those capabilities.
For England, James.
The first episode is coming up this week on Wednesday. It's called IDFT. It's a Second and See B-side, but also too, I joined them on their. This is more akin to this podcast. Their bonus content where they cover the Last Shadow Puppets songs, which is the side project of Alex Turner, and Dracula Teeth, which is the song they covered this month, is very horror themed and on a lot of horror playlists every Halloween, and that's the one we talked about. They do a special thing with their Patreon where you don't have to subscribe, but you can purchase individual episodes if you want to. So if you really hanker in to hear me talk about horror-themed song, Dracula Teeth, and vampire lore and vampire horror films and stuff like that, you can check that out. But yeah, in the upcoming weeks, I'll be on a few episodes of theirs, and I'll mention them every week as they come out.
Cool.
Wow. Nice.
Very cool.
There's a lot of features. I have nothing for the record. So, Bob, how is your house?
I think
is it clean?
I think we're clean.
All right.
All right.
This house is clean.
All right, let's get into the main event. We're talking about Wolfmang, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Whoa, Bob, when are you going to pre-order this box? Soon,
I don't know if I'll be in a big hurry to pick this one up.
You got to finish the collection, Bob. You know, you got to get all the Wolfmangs.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Wolfmang.
You can't leave a Wolfmang out there.
Yeah.
Can't leave a Wolfmang behind, Bob.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's like you're right on the edge of something here.
You're getting there. Yeah, I don't know about this one. Wolfmang, you can't pre-order it yet, but I'm sure you'll be able to any day. Brand new release, rated R, with a runtime of 1 hour and 43 minutes. This was written and directed by your boy Leigh Whannell. Actually, his wife, Corbett Tuck, co-wrote it with him. And it stars Julia Garner, Christopher Abbott. Apparently, Leigh Whannell is in this. I don't remember seeing him. That's interesting.
Really?
Oh, it's just his voice, apparently.
Over the radio, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Matilda Firth is in this. Not a bunch of names that I recognize, to be honest with you. Plot synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. A family at a remote farmhouse is attacked by an unseen animal, but as the night stretches on, the father begins to transform into something unrecognizable.
Ooh.
The one in the middle has an unpleasantly ethnic quality.
Oh, God.
Gentlemangs, would you recommend folks check out Wolfmang? Randy, kick us off.
Recommend? Not really. If you're into wolf features, then maybe. I personally don't usually go for Wolfmang features, so I'm kind of a bad judge for this. But you know, it's January. Options are slim. So if you want a theater experience, I mean, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what all is out, but this might be the best bet you got.
Yeah, there is a Goonies re-release. Go watch that. Juice, what about you?
No, this movie's kind of cheeks, so I would not recommend people check this out in the theater. Bob, how about you? Would you recommend people check this out?
No, I'd say if you are curious, just wait for streaming. I don't think there's any reason to rush out to the theater for it.
Are you recommending streaming, Bob? Is that what you're doing right now?
In this case, yeah.
The Blues can hear you.
Whoa, Bob.
No, the shelves are just going to tumble over on top of me and crush me to death.
Final Destination
would be
style.
crushed to death. That is what would happen.
No survivors.
That sounds like not much of a recommendation at all from the Straight Channel.
No. Who would have thought? January horror? What?
Who would have thought? There are 2 more releases coming out this month, though, that look interesting.
They're all Wolfman.
Presents.
They shot the trilogy back to back to back.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm shocked they didn't do that.
And they're releasing them weeks apart.
That's what they do. Weeks and weeks of cheeks. There's Presents dropping next weekend, and that's a Soderbergh movie. It's like about a haunted house, like shot from the POV of the ghost, which is interesting. And then the last week of the month, Companion comes out, which I am very curious about.
Me too.
Which one is the Lucy Liu one? Is it Presents?
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that one out.
So there might be some good stuff coming soon, but we are going to be spoiling the shit out of Wolfman, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Oh, Bob, hit us with that plot synopsis as thin as it probably is.
This is my alpha plot synopsis, my Sigmund inspired synopsis.
Tell us all about the wolf culture in this film. How accurate is it?
I know a lot about wolf culture.
I know you do. I know you spend a lot of time,
Rob, you can use the proper lichen if you prefer. I don't want to prohibit you from using, the technical terminology here.
Thank you for not prohibiting me, Randy.
You're welcome.
Here goes the plot synopsis here. So the movie opens up in remote Oregon, 1995. We see a young Blake Lovell hunting deer with his stern and overprotective father. A hiker has mysteriously vanished, and the locals think it has something to do with an animal-borne virus. They see a creature in the woods, and they hide in a deer blind until it goes away. We then jump forward about 30 years to present day, and we see Blake is all grown up. He's married to his lovely wife, Charlotte, and they have a kid named Ginger. Blake is overprotective, like his father was, and Charlotte works a whole lot. She's not around, and she feels like she can't really connect to their kid anymore. Blake gets a letter saying his father is dead. All 3 of them end up renting a U-Haul and drive up to the old farmhouse to collect his father's things. Along the way, they run into an old acquaintance of Blake's named Derek. He gets in the truck and gives them directions to the house. The sun sets and a humanoid creature jumps in front of the truck, causing them to crash. Derek falls out and is killed by the creature. The others run to the house and lock the door behind them. While inside, Blake discovers his arm was scratched by the creature, and he quickly becomes ill. His hearing becomes super sensitive. He can no longer speak or understand language, and his eyesight is off the chain. He starts eating his own bloody arm, which really freaks his wife out. Charlotte sees a truck outside and jump-starts it, but before they can drive off, the creature smashes the windshield. They hide on top of a greenhouse, and Blake causes a distraction, allowing Charlotte and Ginger to run back inside. Blake comes back to the house. Charlotte lets him in. He's even further transformed now with claws and hair. The other creature bursts inside, and they fight. Blake bites its neck, killing it, and then he recognizes a tattoo on its arm, and turns out he just killed his own father. He runs out.
I'm a monster!
Yeah, he fucking is. He bites off, he runs outside, chases his family into a barn. He steps in a bear trap, and his family runs away. He then bites off his own foot, Saw style, by the way. Leigh Whannell, going back to the well. His family hides in the same deer blind as the beginning of the movie, and Blake chases them. Charlotte finds a gun, and Ginger, who is able to read her father's mind, says he wants this to be over. Charlotte shoots and kills Blake. Charlotte and Ginger then wander into the canyon and gaze at its natural beauty. Roll them credits.
All right.
There you go.
Oh, boys.
Pretty straightforward here.
I'm just going to get this out of the way here. I don't know, based on the tone you guys are giving, it seems like I might be a little warmer on this movie than you guys are.
Must be, guy.
Because you're really dropping the heavy hint that this is not.
I thought it was like aggressively mediocre. There was.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say this is a great movie, but
I thought it.
I will say I
tried to
enjoyed
be
it more than I thought it
mediocre.
was.
It
Really tried
like
to be.
it
That's
was
interesting.
worse than that. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought so.
There was
Well,
the biggest thing for me was there was just zero emotional resonance. Like I didn't pick up on the emotion between the family. It felt like they were fucking strangers reading lines off cue cards or something.
I felt that same way, dude. It felt like people just reading lines.
Yeah.
There is no, and a lot of it's very tropey. You know, the type of lines they're dropping outside the. And the big red flag was at the beginning when they're like sitting. Him and his wife are sitting down on some steps or something. That's when he goes to her work, and he's like that whole conversation. Like, are we okay? It felt like nothing.
Yeah.
And then even later when the daughter dropped some lines, nobody had any chemistry.
Where's
in
the
this
Riz?
film.
There's no
Dude,
Riz.
it
I
was
just feel like they
bad.
I feel like the guy, like the writing is too tropey. It's like it's almost like just too. That's where it gets aggressively mediocre to me. Is like the way that they interact with each other is very subdued, and they're I think trying to put forward something, but the actual text as written is so tropey as to be like completely overlookable. Like you can tell right from the beginning. It's like, oh, what's your job? To read minds, and such as the whole thing is it just telegraphs everything it intends to do with every line very, very clearly. And it doesn't really I think the man and the daughter have a little bit of more of a connection than Julia Garner and the husband. I think they really suffer in this movie in terms of relationship, like forming a realistic relationship. It doesn't feel fraught. It doesn't feel loving. It feels like strangers. Like you kind of nailed that couple in particular. They just don't work.
Yeah, I just didn't buy into the relationship at all. So there's no real stakes whenever anyone is in danger, because you're like, well, I don't know. I'm just not in it. I'm not bought in. There was also
Sorry, go ahead.
there was also something else that like stuck out to me, like in certain scenes, like there's absolutely no score, which isn't always a bad thing, but it just felt so hollow in certain places. I don't know if that stuck out to you guys at all.
Not to me, but the soundtrack rarely kind of sticks out for me, honestly. Yeah. I will say, I don't know.
It was and it wasn't even just the chemistry and the dialogue. I think Randy hit it too, where it is very tropey, and even that guy who comes in, Derek or whatever, and not just Derek, but okay. So elements of this film: one, the text, opening with text, terrible. It's so lazy, and then I was like, oh no, here we go, got it. And it was such basic information that I was like, you could absolutely explain this through the smallest amount of dialogue.
I don't think they needed to explain
any
anything.
character. They didn't. But the fact that they included that text, and then like when Derek comes in, that whole exchange was super weird and random and didn't do anything for me. But then when he's got to drop lines like there's there's animals out here and sicknesses or something,
be out at night,
and I was like, what the fuck? But also too, this kind of just shits on. I know he's trying to do a modern take, and he did it with Invisible Mang, and it worked in that way. But we kind of have a modern day werewolf idea, that kind of idea of the werewolf without the werewolf, and the idea of the Hulk. Okay, like the conflicts that go into the werewolf of like, I am a man sometimes and I'm a monster sometimes. And when I'm a monster, I can harm the people around me and these things, and I can't control that. And I didn't really feel like that kind of conflict was here, because there was also this element of there's no like back and forth transformation. There's no moment where you transform and do something bad and then come back as a man and have to deal with those consequences, the guilt of that, the idea that you caused this or whatever, which is kind of the core, I think, of a good werewolf tale, in my opinion, this kind of lore. And this just kind of shits on that. I mean, this could is equally be a kind of like zombie virus, you know, because they never come back as humans. Their humanity is gone and lost. And I think that's important to a werewolf tale, I guess.
I mean, I don't know that I fully agree with that. Like, for one thing, yes, you are right that does, like, this is all happening over the course of one night. He doesn't transform back. I actually thought that was at least kind of interesting. I thought that broke from convention to give it a little bit of interest. Like, I thought that was to me, I've seen the Hulk and I've seen werewolf movies, and I'm just not super into them in general. I was happy to see them break format a little bit and give this sort of like, it's an irreversible thing that just happens to your body. It's not something where you come back the next day and you look normal and you go to work. Like, I don't know. I think that gave it more visceral feeling and added a little credence to the body horror aspect of it. Yeah. So I was okay. I was on board with that. Emotional resonance was not on the menu really, but I will say I do want to go back to and say that there was a little bit that I did kind of like, which started with the father and son relationship and how like he's very aggressive towards his kid, and clearly he grows up like, it's just so obviously telegraphed that it kind of spoils, but I appreciate what they tried to do with that, where he's just as like he's realizing that his father and him had the same impulses of trying to protect your kid and getting annoyed and upset when that happens. And so he tries to like work on that about himself and tries to not be that. And he's like, look, I'm sorry I lost my temper. And he tries to he treats the little girl better than the way that he wished that his father had been treated, with those same impulses. And I like that because I like seeing that then start to grow away as he loses control of himself. And so I don't think that, and I also, what I disagree with on your point though, Justin, is that I don't think that he completely loses touch with humanity until like right at the end. Like he's able to break himself of it when looking at his daughter or looking at his wife in certain situations. And like, so I think that's still there. Like, I think that's the most impactful version of what we see in, for example, the Hulk, is when like Black Widow like talks him down or whatever. People are able to talk him down, or something interrupts him and he can't be talked down or whatever. Like, I think that's still there. So for me, I'm not really missing that aspect so much.
I don't mind the change of the lore necessarily, having him just get a virus. You know, I know Leigh Whannell was influenced by The Fly when conceiving of this, and like that, taking a werewolf movie and trying to do something more like that, I don't think is a bad idea. I think the core of this movie is a solid idea, and it could be interesting, I think. I don't think they went far enough with that, because he doesn't really have enough time with his daughter or his wife to understand the dynamics of their relationship. Like when he gets scratched, he starts turning so quickly, and he's like a little annoyed, yeah, but it's not like monstrous. He doesn't like really do anything really horrible at all in any part of the movie, really. He just transforms and becomes a beast. It's just, I don't think they do enough. And there's also this,
I agree with that,
this kind of this theme of like scarring your kids, you know, like he mentions he hadn't spoken to his father in decades, and like, you know, that's a long time to just like cut someone out of your life. But like, we don't see like his dad might be like a little short with him, like maybe he's got a bit of a temper, but like we don't see him like really do anything to scar his kid to like make him just be cut out of his life for decades. So like when he dies and he has to go back to his house and sort of like confront whatever it was he left, we don't really know what he left. So there's no emotional resonance there either.
I agree with that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
When I was watching this movie, his dad, I thought, because the kid runs off into the woods to try and follow a deer, and his dad has his rifle trained because he sees a werewolf, but he's not quite sure what it is. I thought his dad was going to start shooting and accidentally like shoot his kid in the leg and like quite literally scar him, and maybe he grows up with a limp or something, and like that'll play into the movie later because he can't run away from the werewolf, and that's why he gets.
That would have been
and then the scar like physically manifests and like infects him, like his father's temper or whatever, like quite literally manifests in his leg and spreads throughout his body. Like I thought there was going to be more of a metaphor happening. We just don't see. It's just like an idea of it. Like the father Blake in this, like quite literally tells his dad, like, you know, sometimes parents try so hard to keep their kids from being scarred. They're the ones that scar their parents or whatever. Like the movie tells you the point of it, but it doesn't show it very well, I don't think.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like it's not that it's not trying to convey something. It's that what it's conveying feels thin, because I guess it's tell not show. I mean, they kind of try to show, though. I just feel like they don't do enough to really show what they're trying to show. So like you're saying, I was thinking that like the guy and his father or whatever, like his relationship with him, like you don't really understand what the problem is between him and his wife or anything more about him and his daughter. And then when they get there, it would have been nice to see him like lose his cool or something, or find out, like you said, like we don't know what his father did that really scarred him, and ultimately he ends up killing his father and feeling terrible about it. And all we get to hear about that relationship is what he tells his daughter, which is I kind of liked, because it was speaking to a child truthfully, but not but still keeping it child friendly enough, like keeping it like on the level of what a child could understand. So I understood that, but I needed more of that where he wasn't talking to his daughter, where he was just having conversation with his wife or with a therapist, or just, I don't know. I want to know what actually happened, and or at least understand how fraught it was. And they could have shown that. Like, I don't. Yeah. So I guess it is a lack of showing. They just don't show enough.
Which also makes a lot of the emotional beats like ring really hollow, because even the first scene when we see him as an adult, well, not the first scene, I guess the second scene is like where he gets the letter, and when he was saying, "Oh, my dad is dead." God, that scene just was so flat.
Yeah.
When they're sitting at the dinner table and his wife is kind of talking and he's asking her to step aside or whatever, like that could have been done so much better there. I feel like there are pieces there for that to be more impactful. And so when it reveals that it's his dad, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't do anything. And also too, I think the designs look like fucking shit. I thought the mouth.
I thought it was fine.
I thought it was like
the mouth looked rough.
I didn't think it looked good.
Like the thing is, like, I don't know. I don't think there's been a Wolfman that I thought looked great. Like, I just don't think that it's a very
Trick or Treat is still my favorite.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, that's up there, but like, I just think conceptually, it's just not. It's hard. It needs a Robert Eggers approach. It doesn't need, you know what I mean? Like, it needs somebody who like really takes the lore hyper seriously. And I think they kind of tried to do that with the last reboot with Anthony Hopkins and all that stuff. And I thought that was a valiant effort. I think this is a valiant effort to disavow itself unencumber itself of like hyper, like retro gothic stuff and try and embrace something more modern. And I appreciate the attempt. Yeah. I like the change of scenery. Like, I really love Oregon. So like, that's a huge plus for me in this movie. I'm just like have a proclivity towards that sort of environment, but it's just not hitting. And that's the thing. And like, it doesn't take the lore seriously. The characters don't feel real. It needs those sort of like moments of relatability that aren't CW level telegraphed. Yeah. Or told, so that we can really grip in and appreciate this couple. I feel like I love Julia Garner, and it's really hard to see her not really
She's a
do
great
well
actress.
here. She really is. I don't know.
Not in this.
Not in this. No,
like,
it's not her
She's just
fault.
too cool and passive. She seems like she's already doing Silver Surfer. Like, it's not disconnected from humanity.
And
is she supposed to be doing Silver Surfer?
She's the Silver Surfer.
Really? I didn't know that. Oh, Marvel.
There's also like no real good scares or like kills. There's not like a baller transformation scene. There's no like cool set pieces really. Like the woods, I mean, like the valley is gorgeous, but we don't spend a lot of time there. Like the only kind of set pieces you have are like the house, which doesn't look like much, the barn, which doesn't look like much, and like that greenhouse, which I guess is the coolest thing because it's lit from the inside. But like, why on earth would you hide on top of like a tarp greenhouse? Like, that's the worst idea.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's nothing really kind of going on here. And there's not a lot of change because they get there and they're running from the wolf creature. I mean, I guess with the dad changing in the house, it just doesn't feel like anything though. And also too, I was not a big fan of the glowing purple shit. I was like that. Really?
I didn't love it, but I liked it.
First,
it's a unique thing.
Yeah, they kept doing it. They just did it too much. And I think the more you see, the goofier it started to look to me anyways.
Maybe that's true,
in one particular point, it took all the tension out of it because it's kind of a cool idea. But to me, I was like, oh, well, that, because it's when the mom and daughter are in the barn and it's pitch black and they can't see that the dad is a wolf and he's standing right next to him. But from the dad's perspective, you could see that he's right there. And he's like, well, then I'm like, well, he would just get them. Like, I'm just,
well, but he doesn't.
I don't know. I know he doesn't.
That works pretty well.
I thought that killed the tension for me.
Really? To me, it's like it's the old Hitchcock thing where it's like we know why there's tension as an audience, even if the characters don't. Like we know there's a bomb under the table. But what we didn't know is that there was a second bomb under the table, which was the bear trap, and I thought that worked fine. I liked that fine. I liked like Rob's. I think you're right to say that it was like maybe overdone with the two-way thing, but I really liked that. And I did like, generally speaking, I'm not particularly wowed by big transformation scenes in werewolf movies either. So I was kind of, again, like I thought it was unique and an interesting choice for them to make it more of like a transformation movie rather than a transformation scene that you get the big complete budget spend on. But the whole movie, you're right. It's like The Fly, or he's like slowly losing his humanity, and we see that in a number of different ways, including the blue lights, where we see that like literally communication has broken down. I like that. I think that's like a more interesting thing for me to take from a wolf. I just wasn't expecting it. It subverted the typical
it's different,
and I approve of that.
The hearing thing with the spider crawling on the wall, that was like okay.
That was interesting. I actually thought that was interesting.
It didn't play in that much, but it didn't just show him having this fucked up thing happen.
Yeah.
You would think that then the hearing would play in at some point or something.
Yeah, it just kind of goes away after that. You never deal with it again.
I think the problem with this movie too is the characters are so flat and the thing doesn't change. That all these elements that we're talking about, I keep thinking about they're constantly done better in other things, which there's nothing about this film where I think like they really nailed that, because even I just remembered another werewolf property that did it like in an interesting, more fun throwback way, was that Werewolf by Night, which was pretty recent, the Marvel Halloween special. And they did the transformation scenes are really hard, and that's what you're always waiting for. And I still think Trick or Treat is one of the best ones. And but it is hard to pull off. So I think you have to be a little creative in some ways. And Werewolf by Night does it where it's this silhouette on the wall, so the person's changing, but you don't have to actually show the transformation outright. You show the shadow of the transformation, which allows your imagination to go. But I mean, so The Fly is infinitely better in that idea of this loved one kind of like breaking down and becoming a monster. But I mean, American Werewolf in London, that has so much more emotional resonance in like somebody's gone from you, there is somebody, you're trying to save them from this affliction and they never come back to you. I mean, that's done better. Transformation scenes are done better. There's just nothing about this movie that I think I'm like, wow, that's such a great version of the Wolfman. Like, I don't know. It's different, but I don't think it's good. It's not going to be anything that sticks around with me that I'm going to be like, that's what this movie did really special, you know?
It does, I think, for me anyway. I think that like it's unique enough within the pantheon of werewolf movies for it to take the approach of The Fly or whatever, where it's watching somebody slip in and out of their humanity. To me, is more interesting. It's just that the humanity that they have is already, like you say, very flat. So the contrast isn't up the way it is in The Fly, where you have like this extremely charming couple.
Yeah.
And then he turns into kind of like a self-assured prick. And then he turns into a man who wants to die.
Because, to be fair, The Fly is also in a very limited settings. They're essentially in his apartment, and it's two people. There's not even a kid to have like a little dynamic off of. So it can be done if you're doing a good job.
I think that's really the key here. I think that's honestly the key component that makes all those things work that you just described. Except for Werewolf by Night, because it was just a different kind of thing. That was more like that was comic booky. Like it was made with a different intent. It was not really meant to be scary, I don't think. No. At least not by our standards. This was. And it just doesn't, like, without the human element really landing, the rest of it falls apart. I think we're a lot closer than I originally suspected based on this conversation. But yeah, that's really the killer app. If they had characters that I liked and believed in and understood the relationship dynamics of in a way that wasn't just straight up told to me in the dialogue or telegraphed really badly for future development, I probably would have liked this movie a lot more. The thing is, though, like I didn't have a bad time watching it, though. Like I was like nonplussed by it, but I was, I
had a bad time watching.
I was a little bored. Not a bad time.
I think I said again out loud when lines would drop. The only notes I was taking, because I was alone in the theater, so I was fine. But the only notes I was taking was how terrible some of the lines were, because I would just go, I'd groan or go, oh my God. And it was things like, if this stayed with you, if this scars you, and like, I'm so worried about you, I don't know what to do. And just all the like things that it felt so flat. It felt so bad. And those were the only things catching my attention. I didn't write any good notes. I didn't write anything impressive.
The one moment in this movie that did actually get a reaction out of me and made me go like, oh, holy fucking shit, that's fucking nuts, is when he starts scratching and gnawing at his bloody arm. I thought that moment was really strong and lit cool because they knocked the lamp over, so you get these shadows on the wall.
I think maybe they should have just leaned into the body horror more, because it's clear that they go to the lengths in a few spots, that and then like where his nails are falling off, or a few different things. And then also I really did like how often the teeth, how like, or the tooth falling out or whatever. Yeah, like I think that like hiding him a lot in the dark was a good impulse that they didn't follow through with enough.
Yeah.
Like they should have just had mostly him in the dark, mostly the werewolves in the dark, which they kind of did, but not entirely. But then also the transformations, you get a lot more of those. If they had done a better balance of those things, I feel like it would have spread apart some of that feeling of grotesqueness throughout the rest of the movie, where it felt flatter.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
I never felt like he was truly a threat to his family. Like he was able to maintain control the vast majority of the film, and that again like removes a lot of tension. There's the other werewolf obviously, but he's stuck outside, and like Blake is doing a pretty good job at protecting his family from it. So there's just like I'm not like afraid that this little girl's actually gonna like get hurt, or this lady is gonna get hurt.
She seems, I mean, a little. Yeah, I think that is missing. I don't know.
And there's moments where I'm thinking like it could have been more dramatic, or it could have been more tense with the elements that you already have in place. Like I'm thinking about the aspect of the wife calling on the radio and saying like, my husband's sick, like acknowledging. So you could have these dynamics of the wife telling the husband like, no, you're okay, or we're going to get you out of here. And then have a more desperate scene where she actually gets through to somebody and she's talking to them. And then the husband comes up behind her and you're like, oh my God, well, that's going to flip him out, or that's going to, drive him crazy or something like that. But then you find out he can't actually understand what she's saying now, or what, I don't, and I know that they do
Maybe
that,
they
but
pulled that rug too quickly.
Yeah, it didn't have
that would have been good to have some
impact.
conflict there.
Yeah.
So that he can get mad and therefore his temper, his problems with his father and his father's temper and his temper can come to fruition instead of just being like his brain being dulled, which is an interesting thing. But give us if you're going to set up the temper, then show us that temper flying off the handle again while he's in wolf mode, and then have the brain drain happen.
Yeah, and even I thought when they first got in there, one thing I thought, this is definitely going to happen. I just thought it was going to, where they get into the house. I thought he was going to very quickly find a gun. He grew up with his father with guns. And I thought we were going to have a scene that was going to have some emotional resonance, where he's at a point of no return, where he thinks of taking the gun to himself to protect. I'm transforming. I can't get out of this, and I'm going to try to save my daughter and my wife. And in the last moments, either he transforms then, or he tries and it's not successful, or whatever we get. But I was like, man, I don't know. There was just a lot of moments I thought were kind of telegraphed, or I thought like, this is where we're headed. And it just, and whatever we got, even the last scene of the daughter delivering the line, I was like, this is like a 6-year-old girl saying like, put my dad out of his misery. It felt so dumb.
And
she
her
says,
reading
mommy, he wants it to be over. I was just with no emotion. Like, she's not weeping. She's telling her mom to like kill her father. It's terrible. It's pretty terrible.
Her reading her dad's mind is supposed to be like a cutesy thing that is at the
It does
end
not
so
feel
sad, but you just don't feel anything. Yeah, it's like, okay, that's a thing. I get it. I get what you're trying to do. There,
Sorry, go ahead.
There was also like the Chekhov's poisonous mushrooms at the beginning of the movie.
Dude,
I
yeah,
thought
what
they
the
would
fuck?
come
I
into
thought about
play.
that too. Like the devil's cap or whatever.
Yeah.
And the jerky, when he's like, what's that smell? And you're like, oh, what's going to be in the thing? He's like, oh, it's my dad's jerky. And I was
jerky.
like, what the fuck was that?
Nothing
I thought
weird at all.
I thought that
choice.
immediately after that she was going to be like, I think that's raw or something like that.
Yeah.
Or it's
Yeah,
like,
it's
that's
something.
not-
Yeah.
And he'd be like, is it? No, it's not.
Yeah, what did that
And then,
even
like,
mean?
It meant
Dad just
I
made jerky.
I think it only meant that his nose is getting better, like because he's
Yeah.
getting
Okay, yeah.
becoming more canine. But that was not well. Like for all the things that they're trying to show and not tell, that's the thing you go with, not telling or not bringing around to our attention in a clearer way.
Oof.
I don't know. It's very strange. Very strange. His nose never comes into play ever again anyway. Just like all these there's just a lot of things that are set up that don't go anywhere, and the things that are set up that do go somewhere are very, very fucking obvious. It's an uneven fucking movie. Ultimately, like, I don't know. I compare this to other movies that were released around the same period of time in years past, like The Boogeyman. And I think that
That was a
like that
summertime movie.
Was it really?
I think it was, yeah.
Maybe
It's
I'm
like
misremembering
May
it.
or something, yeah.
Well, I hold it in a similar regard. Let's say that. But I think I enjoyed watching this movie a little more. And
oh, wow. I'd say The Boogeyman's better
I'd
than
prefer
this.
the
No, I
Boogeyman, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I do. And like, I don't know. I'm struggling to come up with why. I just like, I think that my lowered
Me too,
expectations
buddy.
because of the subject matter, because I'm just not into wolf tales.
You're not
like,
into wolf culture, Randy?
I'm not.
It
I'm
shows. Beta
You must not be an
Randy.
alpha, brother.
fuck alpha. I don't even remember what my nickname was. I don't remember. I'm like
Beta
Delta,
Randy.
No.
Lambda.
Lander
yeah, that's what it
Ramdeezy.
Ramdeezy. Yeah, I just like it's just not made for me, and the fact that I enjoyed even the slightest bit of it, it was a little bit of a surprise. I had no hopes for this movie except that I liked Julia Garner.
I mean, I didn't really have any hopes either, because I think werewolves are really difficult. And one thing I did, I mean, I'll bring this up again in what you've been watching, but I did. It's on Shudder. I rewatched that one from 2010. And maybe too, also because, and maybe it's just a shifting of the times, or like we've had a lot of this, but we just got Nosferatu, and then I watched that one from 2010, and back then they were more willing to do those kind of like period pieces, even if they were very silly. I mean, you had movies that they're bad. Don't get me wrong, but like the Van Helsings, exactly, where you're actually walking through this village and there's, this stuff like that.
Yeah, and then that shit.
And yeah, that's kind of me too. And with this, the whole idea of we're gonna make it modern, we're gonna bring it into the modern day. But then we just watched Nosferatu, and I was like, I kind of like that. And I watched it 2010. I'm like, a werewolf movie, I kind of want it to be kind of gothic, honestly. I want a giant, ridiculously big full moon that's not realistic at all, with the silhouette of the wolf out on the moors. And
goth juice over here.
Goth juice, I know. But I don't know. This modern take, but it's a virus. You see, it's not a curse. I'm just like, it's not that interesting to me, especially when you don't really making it a virus doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't say like, that's interesting. It just makes me think that's just how you're trying to incorporate it into a more grounded, realistic way, but it doesn't do anything.
I don't even think they even harped on that enough to where it became a thing for me, where I was like, I know that it's a disease or whatever, but I think that really the thing that was pointing at was just that this was going to be a gradual descent into something rather than a magical transformation, fucking fairy godmother style that ends at midnight or whatever. Like, it's not going to be that, which I kind of can get down with that, just as a way of like saying, no, this is a more biological approach. I can appreciate that.
I'm
it's
down
just
with the idea
everything
too.
around it is not good. I would just realize that like the one like purely werewolf movie that I really do think that I like that I do like is Ginger Snaps, and it's like,
hell yeah,
that movie has a lot of interesting shit that it's saying. And
you don't like American Werewolf in London?
Oh no, I do like that movie fine. I didn't like it as much as other people though. Like, I definitely have a more tepid reception to it than a lot of people.
I rewatched that like a year ago or something, and I was surprised at how much fun it was. I really loved rewatching it.
Maybe I need to rewatch it. It's been years, but I remember being like, this doesn't feel classic-y to me. Like, it doesn't quite reach the levels that I was led to believe. I don't think.
There's one about that came out in like around the 2000s about soldiers that are werewolves.
Soldiers.
I've never seen that. Is it
Rob,
any
you saw
good?
it, right?
I think it's okay. A lot of people really love it though.
That's what it has a good reputation.
There's this movie called Late Phases that I like a lot.
Maybe that's the one I thought you were talking about.
Came out in like 2008 or something like that. I'd recommend checking that out if you're into werewolf movies. I feel like it's not talked about very often.
I've never,
There's
that Christmas one too. The Wolf of
Snow Hollow.
Snow Hollow, yeah.
That's a banger. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that one is good, yeah.
Werewolves Within. I'm looking at several now. There's Werewolves Within. There's fucking all kinds of like B movies, of course, and then
The Howling is a big
fucking
one.
Teen Wolf. I forgot about that one. The Howling. Yeah. I don't know if I've seen the Howling one. I can't remember if I have or not. I know we saw Howling 2.
I don't think I've seen the Howling.
It's worth watching.
So cool. I don't know. Maybe I just have blind spots, and like there's just something about it that seems silly to me in a way that like The Witch, like witches used to seem silly before The Witch came around, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this can be fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
I just need more. I just need a little of that. I need somebody to get really anachronistic with it, but not involve like major studio bullshit like 2010's Wolfman. I think like I don't know. There's some. I did not like that much.
Yeah.
Was that the one we covered? Yeah. The jumped up Palomino or whatever.
Ball-headed Jesus Palomino.
I honestly don't remember what I thought about that movie.
I think you liked it a lot, if I remember
Maybe
correctly.
I could be. I don't know.
fun. It's like a silly movie. It's fun.
It is a silly movie. I liked laughing about it, but I did not enjoy watching that movie.
I can't remember any of the beats on it, honest. I'm trying to like pull up some image in my mind.
The kid is in a wheelchair and his crazy uncle, played by Gary Busey, like soups it up for him and it
Piss on the
hauls
Yankees,
ass.
piss on the Indians, piss on the city.
Yeah. He's got a sister, right?
Yeah, and there's a
and his
got a
sister is like really jealous.
She's the
of
one
him or
telling the
something.
story.
Yeah.
And it doesn't pay off. I don't know.
I kind of remember that. Yeah.
You meddling little shit!
That's Silver Bullet. That's the priest that turns out to
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Okay. I'm remembering more now.
And then, of course, there's this all-timer scene.
He always called me that.
Holy shit.
That's good shit.
Woo.
That
It's
man
good.
was on a
It's
lot of
enjoyable for
cocaine.
all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Gary Busey's fucking on a bender when they shot that movie. Goddamn.
Oof. Can you imagine being a kid having to work next to Gary
No.
Busey and being like, what the fuck is happening? Having no idea that he's coked out of his mind, just thinking that's what he is. Like, that's how he is. Be like, what the shit?
Yeah, that's my Busey.
Oh my
There's a
God.
show that followed him on Comedy Central years ago called I think it was like it's I'm with Busey, where it was like
man.
some dude just following Gary Busey around all day. I never watched it because I didn't know who that was at the time, but I remember this as my first experience knowing even who he was. And as the years wore on, that show gets more and more of a mystery to me. I wonder if anybody even fucking remembers it. Maybe it's lost.
I do not.
I don't. That sounds
I remember
awful.
he was on like Entourage for a while or something, or I don't know. Yeah, he's a weird guy.
Yeah, it was a 1-season reality show.
Let's see.
I bet it was only one season.
Damn.
It literally was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not surprised. But anything else you guys want to touch on before we rate this thing?
No, let's rate it.
Let's do it out of 5. Juice, why don't you kick us off? How do you feel about Wolf, man?
Man, I just really don't like this. I don't. And even to the point where I have to even consider that not a lot of the ideas are intriguing to me. And I have to make excuses to think like, if this happened and this happened and this happened, then maybe the ideas would be interesting to me. Like, I have to make all these hypothetical situations if it played out this way. But as it is, I don't find it as a virus interesting. There's some universe where it could be, but it's not in this film. And so I don't find that idea so intriguing, other than it's just different than what we're used to. The performances are bad. I think for the most part, it looks good. Like, I do, like Randy said, I do like the setting and the kind of isolation of it. I mean, at least it makes some sense. But other than that, there's just not much positive, honestly. I can't pull out anything. The body horror, I guess. Okay, I guess that's the best element of this film is the body horror is done well. This teeth slowly falling out, him chewing on his arm, the nails kind of coming off, and then things coming through where the nail holes are, and that. But I thought the mouth, like the ultimate look, was quite silly. So it's just the transformation scenes and the blood scenes, and like the bloody arm scene, and the spider thing was pretty cool. I liked that. Definitely better than the jerky aspect. But yeah, these lines are garbage, and I think there's some wasted, like you said. I think there's some acting power here that's kind of wasted. I don't know. I just think nothing really hits well for me here. So it looks pretty good. There's some solid body horror and a couple elements where it kind of pulls off the aspects of the wolf. So I'm going to give it a 1.5. I just don't think this is good. Don't think it's good.
1.5.
Yeah, Bob, out of 5, what are you going to rate the Wolf Mang?
Yeah, I'm mostly on the same page here. I think the core ideas are not bad and could have made for a really interesting werewolf movie. But unfortunately, it's just so. This movie, they should have called it Hollow Mang because it just feels so damn hollow. There is
Oh, wow.
Wow.
just
Congrats on that one.
Wolfman is alfing into theaters.
Sigmund Baum says.
Yourself!
Sigmund Baum says this movie sucks. Yeah, it's just the ideas are okay. There are some quality actors here, and there's zero chemistry, absolutely zero chemistry, and I don't think they go far enough with really any aspect of the movie with the parents scarring children and the generational trauma or the disease aspect and like watching someone you love slowly fade away until you can't recognize them anymore. I don't feel like the father was ever really a threat to his family. Him killing his own father is just it's just a thud. It just falls with a thud. It just
I mean, did you not? I definitely knew that was coming.
for
You guys
sure.
did.
Yeah.
No, there's nobody else in the film.
Yeah,
There's literally nobody else it could be that would have
I think
any
they're
kind
trying
of
to.
impact.
I think that's maybe the point of adding that opening crawl. So you think maybe it's the hiker. 20
Yeah.
fucking 5 years later. Like,
Ay, maybe.
I don't know.
The score was weird. Like I said, there was like big chunks of space where there's like no music happening and just flat dialogue. And I was looking around like, did they finish editing this? Is like, did they release this too early or something? So there was like some interesting camera work, and I think some of the practical effects and the slow transformation, like were pretty cool. In that one scene where he was like scratching his arm, really was disgusting and got me. I just needed so much more of that. Yeah, I think I'm kind of with Justin on this, like with a 1.5. I think that sounds about right. Randy, how do you feel?
Well, I think we're closer than I had originally anticipated. I thought you guys were going to come in at like 0.5s or something. Like that was my anticipation from the prelude anyway. But yeah, I agree with a lot of the points. I think that like the thing that is stopping me is from giving it a similar score is two things. Well, one is the few things that I did like, which is like you said, like I liked the idea and some of the execution of a long transformation, and I liked that it was one night and it wasn't like this prolonged thing. I thought that was nice and different and interesting to me. It could add there was a lot of fertile ground there that they could have done something with. I just don't think they did. But I liked that. I liked the setting a lot, just a personal preference. I really love that setting. They really did the natural beauty of that area justice, and it also makes a lot of sense because that's like, that's Bigfoot country. That's like that's a place where you get lost. That's a place where like that's untamed in a way that a lot of America isn't anymore.
They got the cherry chupacabras out there. You gotta watch out.
East Coast. Sure.
Riff-raff out in
Cherry
the woods.
the riffraff. Yes. I forgot what the fuck you meant by that.
Blueberry Bigfeet's out there.
The turquoise tornadoes out there in the woods, boys.
Oh my goodness.
That's what they called me in high school.
I believe that.
Because you drank so much Hypnotic. Puked everywhere.
That's a Sigma drink right there.
Sigmund. That's a Sigmund drink.
I'll take
right
a triple
there.
Hypnotic.
But yeah, like those are things I liked about it. I did like the fact that communication breaks down. I liked some of, like I said, the body horror and things like that. I liked what they were trying to do with the characters, but it just didn't work. Some of it anyway. And that's really the crux of it, is like without the human element landing, this movie's just not going to land well. And the other half of it, I said two things that are keeping me from giving it too terrible of a score, the same score you guys did. The second thing is that I just kind of I won't say that I didn't not enjoy myself. I won't say that I had a great time. I had a fairly good time though watching it. I was like, okay. Like I recognized all the problems. It was just like, maybe it just wasn't offensively bad to me. You know what I mean? I didn't get like, I didn't have a groan moment where I was like, oh, I can't believe they fucking did that. And maybe it was just the mood I was in. Who knows? But for the sake of getting a number out there, I'm just going to go right down the middle on this one and give it a 2.5.
Generous.
Maybe that's
Randy.
overly generous.
He's a generous man.
I'm going off of my experience this time. And if there ever is a next time, probably not. Stands to drop. Who knows?
All right. Well, that's going to put our aggregate at a 1.8 for Wolfmang. Let's jump over to our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users have to say.
Certified fresh to death.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment of the show in which I'm going to have these gentlemen guess within the best of their abilities what the aggregate positive score is on RottenTomatoes.com. Starting with the critic score, also known as the tomatometer, and then moving on to the user score, also known as the poopometer, also known as the popcorn meter. It is so fucking. They make it impossible. Why do this? I don't. I'm not a linguist. I'm not a cunning linguist, guys. I can't do it.
I've heard that.
Beta Randy over here. Got that short tongue.
God damn it. My tongue's too short. What? Has that ever been a thing? Anyway. Tomatometer is 171. Rob really tickled his own pickle on that shit.
What an insult.
That's a sick joke right there.
Got that short tongue.
171 reviews on the tomatometer, on the critic score. I'm going to start with Juice today, since Bob's got to laugh it out a little longer. Juice, where do you think those 171 reviewers came in? Critic reviewers.
I don't know. For some reason, I think people are going to fall, critics, I think, are going to fall more in the Randy camp of being a little forgiving, because this movie's trying to do things, and I think that still holds some kind of weight. I don't know. I'm hoping there's kind of now. I find myself hoping there's more of a shift to be like, we don't need to make things modern anymore. Go back. I want some more kind of serious period pieces or something. I don't know. Serious. Yeah.
Period.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's a period.
A period serious. So I'm going to give this movie nope, I'm not ready.
What?
For this movie.
Whoa.
I'm going to guess.
I don't think there's a cunning linguist in the bunch, personally.
It's a
don't insult my skills, Randy. I'm gonna guess somewhere. I'll say 50. I'll take Randy's score 50.
Okay, 10 right to the 50. Okay, Bob, why don't you follow that up? You going over, under, somewhere else?
Let me see that tongue real quick, Juice. What do you... Whoa, yeah.
No.
Is it nice and long, Bob?
The action. Oh, it goes on for days.
It's a little long in the tongue.
Oh, shit. What is this? I don't know. 50 is... Yeah, that's a good guess. I might take the under on it. I'll just take a 40.
Safe
40,
bet.
all right.
Yeah.
Well...
If it's
you guys
45,
are right in the zone.
Tie.
Yeah.
You're not going to tie.
Man.
You're right in the zone, though. One of you is 3 points away, and that person is Soju. It is 53%.
Oh, wow. It's going to be 47. Whoa. All right. Well, that's a hell yeah.
I was a little surprised it was over 50 as well. I kind of thought it would skew more towards you guys, but yeah, there you go. 53%. Is there a critics? Yeah, critics consensus reads, director Leigh Whannell's attempt at bringing a fresh psychological dimension to the Wolfman comes at the expense of proper scares, although fans of body horror will still find some tasty morsels to chew on. I don't think that's entirely erroneous.
Yeah.
All right, let's go in reverse order. We're going to talk about the poopometer, 500 plus verified ratings from users. Rob, kick us off here. What do you think those users are coming in on this one at?
Pocknometer. It's probably, I feel like it's going to be in the same zone. I will take the 50. I'll take the 50 down the middle this time.
Ooh, okay. Down the middle. All right. Soju, how about you?
I'm going to take the low in this time because I think the audience is going to be less forgiving than the critics. So I'm going to take a 45.
45. All right. Well, you guys aren't too far off the mark here, but one of you is 9 percentage points away That person's Bob. It's 59%.
Got it.
Both are splatters, but neither are sub 50, which
That's
I am a
surprising.
little surprised about.
That the audience liked it more.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that makes sense because I don't think that modern audiences are necessarily big Wolfman aficionados. They may not be as tired of the same tricks.
That's fair.
They're not Wolfmangs. They're not alphas.
They're not alphas, is what you're saying, Randy.
They are just villagers. They
Cool.
told you. All right, let's read a couple of negative reviews just to do it, just because sometimes they're funny. Here's one. I appreciate the psychological approach to Wolfman. The story and progression are what makes the film disappointing.
Hilarious as usual.
Not hilarious, and I'm not parsing it properly, I don't think. Let's find another one, and if it's not funny, you know what? So be it.
We try.
Wolfman takes longer to show the story's wolf transformation than it does to watch paint dry, which would be a better alternative than watching this sluggish, nonsensical horror movie. Adequate visual effects can't save this mess.
Hilarious.
Paint drying is awesome.
Man.
Depends on what color.
Does it?
Let me get that turquoise
You dig-
tornado.
You're a subscriber to paint drying on YouTube. Just, sometimes they're hits, sometimes they're misses, but you know.
Cherry chupacabra comes in real nice.
Yeah, it does. All right, let's call it. Let's move on to the next fucking thing.
Yeah, it does. Okay, yeah, we got some trivia on this. Let's go ahead and get into it.
It's totally time for trivia.
All right, there, fellas. Yeah, this movie was a long time coming. Initially in 2021, Ryan Gosling was going to star in this. He was also going to executive produce. I think he actually did produce the one that we ended up getting.
Was that when they had some kind of universe going on or no?
No, I think this was separate from that.
Ryan Gosling can act his ass off.
I think he had I think he actually had an idea for it and wanted to make it. And Derek Cianfrance was going to direct. I'm not familiar with that dude. It was going to be their third collaboration. Two years later, though, both of them left the project. They had scheduling issues pop up. And then after that, whatever story Gosling had went to the wayside. Leigh Whannell came in and picked it up. And I was listening to an interview with Leigh Whannell. After he made Invisible Mang, they were asking him if he wanted to make a Wolfman. He's like, no, I don't have an idea. And they were sort of like, well, I mean, if you were to make one, just what would you do? And then they got him thinking about it, and then eventually just kind of suckered him into making a movie. So
yeah, see, when you don't have a pad, that makes me want the Ryan Gosling one because Ryan Gosling also too is in that Dead Man's Bones, so it seems like he has a kind of love for these kind of classic and and maybe he could make a soundtrack for it too. You know,
it would slap. Yeah.
Well, here's the
probably.
thing. I think he might have just gotten too big for this production, because but
if it's a passion project for his,
no, I agree. I just think that maybe that scheduling conflicts come with success.
Sure.
So I think that might have been more this year. I looked up the director you mentioned, Derek Cianfrance. I don't know.
Yeah.
He did Blue Valentine and The Place Beyond the Pines. He was a writer for those, and which I have seen neither of those.
Me either.
And he did direct Blue Valentine as well. And The Place Beyond the Pines. Okay. Yeah, he directed both of them as well as a few other things. But those are two that I at least know the names of, and I feel like have generally positive feelings associated with them. At least that's what I gather. So I don't know. I could have been interesting. The thing is, it's always better to go with somebody has a passionate idea for a project than it is to go with somebody who's a hired gun. You got to
sucker into making it. Do you want to make this? Yeah. No. Well, what if we threw money at you?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, when you put it that way, let's make Lego Movie 3.
Oh, God.
Yeah. The practical costume and makeup that was released at Universal Studios last year in 2024, they had a Wolfman for Horror Nights. everybody thought that was like the creature in the movie, and if you didn't see the images, it looked like dog.
It looked like shit.
Yeah. So
it looked like just a creepy farmer mask.
Oh no!
It looked really stupid, but like that was some sort of flub, and like Leigh Whannell had to go around and like make sure everybody like knew like that's not the actual Wolfman, like because
I hadn't heard that. I thought it was. I thought I chalked it up to like, yeah, sometimes fucking haunted house costumes are not the best, even at Universal. Like they're still just rubber masks a lot of the time. So, but it's interesting that it was just a complete misinformation.
Yeah, they fucked up. The moving truck in the film is called a company called Pierce, and it says it's been in business since 1941. 1941 was the year of the original Wolfman, and Jack Pierce was Universal's. He did all the monster makeup for the 30s and 40s, the movies that came out in the 30s and 40s. Little nod to that. Whannell and his wife Corbett Tuck co-wrote the film's first draft by pulling from the feeling of confinement and isolation caused by the COVID-19 pandemic to touch on the inevitability of illness and death, setting the story primarily in one location to make the drama intimate and drawing from themes of parenting and marriage.
Man, I did not get the COVID thing at all. I just completely glossed that as a possibility. They didn't do anything with it, so I don't think that I missed a whole lot. But
yeah, not really. Whannell hosted weekly film screenings for his crew at a theater inside the studio where the film was shot. He showed The Shining, The Thing, The Fly, Little Children, Blue Valentine, Amour, and Under the Skin.
Interesting.
That's
Blue Valentine was on that list.
Yeah. To prepare for the role, Abbott watched hours of animal videos on YouTube to grasp the wolf's body language. Garner interviewed working mothers about societal pressures put on women and suggested that her character go through the 7 stages of grief after reading books on grief and loss. Which, I don't know, man. I don't know if you really got those, honestly.
Dude, I did not get that. The only thing I got from her about being a mother was just that one line where she's like, I don't know if I'm a good mother anymore. Yeah. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, you're
I don't
setting something
connect
up,
with
and then
my daughter, yeah.
And then that just never comes back again. They might have kind of hinted at it when she ran to hug her father after he comes back in once, and she kind of has a sad look. But of course she fucking did. Her father just fucking saved their lives or some shit. Like it was like a moment where it would make perfect sense.
Well, yeah, and there's no push and pull between. They could have used that to make the daughter want to go to the dad, but the dad is dangerous now, and the mom is doing her best to convince the daughter that she can't go to her dad because the dad's dangerous. The daughter doesn't want to abandon the dad. But it's just like there's no tension between the daughter and the mom.
You don't get a sense of their relationship.
Yeah, like the daughter could be putting herself in danger to be near the dad when the dad has lost control, and the mom needs no, they don't do any of that. They don't do any of that.
No, it's well, not really. There's you killed some. I don't know. There's a little tension, but it's not any tension that you would not expect from anybody else in that situation.
No, if anything, the mom should be maybe trying to kill the dad, but the girl's trying to stop her. But she's like, oh, dad can be saved or dad can be healed. But the girl is the one who tells the mom to shoot dad.
I know. If they had harped on that a little bit, if they had the thing is, I think they did try to do that. It was just so slight and so barren of feeling that it didn't stick. She finally says that, it just feels kind of out of nowhere. It's like, why? What?
I think we could all agree this is not a 2.5 film. That's for sure.
Yeah. The last thing I have here, the budget was $25 million, and currently the box office is sitting at around $17 million. So it'll probably make its money back.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's not bad enough that I'm like, oh, they should fail financially or miserably.
Nah,
I just think it's kind of a dud. You tried.
Yeah.
You didn't really care about it. Leigh Whannell, especially knowing that, it's if anything, the executives should learn the lesson here. It's Leigh Whannell did his best. Well, I know, but he did his best. He was talked into it. They threw money at him. What are you gonna do?
He's got a good track record. He's made.
He makes cool movies. Yeah. And he did Upgrade too, and Invisible Man. Those are bangers. Yeah.
Here's the thing though. Even movies that even projects, not even movies, projects that you get as a creative person that are not what you necessarily want to work at, you can still get excited about it. I don't buy that he wasn't invested in this. I just think that it was like it's putting the cart before the horse. If you don't have the engine, don't build the body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mechanic Randy
Awesome.
over here.
Awesome fucking mixed metaphor ass.
That's great.
That's all the trivia I got. Cooter of the week. Is there a cooter in this? Do we even need to?
There's like no people.
I know. Yeah. There's.
You know who I think's the cooter? The little girl.
Yeah. Oh, her name is Ginger, by the way, after Ginger Snaps.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, good for her.
Werewolf Bar Mitzvah.
Spooky,
scary.
Boys becoming men. Men becoming wolves.
It's a great scene. Anyway,
yeah. Okay.
Thank you, 30 Rock, for that one.
You want to talk about what we've been watching?
Sure.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Randy's, you're chomping at the bit. What you been watching?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to skip Cooters because I didn't want to have to force it. Yeah, only a few things really. Watch Squid Games season 2. Really feels like Squid Game season, like I don't know, 1.5 or like it's a half a season. It doesn't feel like a full season of the show. It doesn't feel like a complete story the way the first season did, and I was disappointed by that. That's the big takeaway I got from it. However, the internal machinations of it are still good. I enjoy watching it. The action is good. I don't know where they're going quite with it yet, but I feel like there's still some commentary that needs groundwork laid on that. The way that Squid Games 1 really kind of like brought that shit home. I think this one is starting to really form in that way, forming that social commentary that the first season had. Anyway, I'm excited about it. To see the final season. I'm glad that it's not like 3 years away again, but I wish they would just have released it all at once and given it another 6 months. But no. The hype train has to be back on track.
You gotta feel the hype train. I might have to get some of those pop-ups coming up in May and June, all the way out. I played the Squid Games myself.
Okay. Yeah, good. If you go missing, we'll know what happened.
He got squid gamed.
Well, I got squidded. I've been watching Kunk on Life. I think I mentioned that before. It's a basically like a faux documentary show with a comedian, Philomena Kunk, or rather her character, Philomena Kunk, British woman, going and talking to various experts about various issues and various things about life or whatever, and just saying the most insane shit. It's very, very funny. It's really tough to describe, but it's like a Daily Show interview, but more kind of in a David Attenborough style, like more documentary film sort of style. It's great. It's a great show. It's a great movie. Kunk on Life is the movie, yeah, and then Kunk on Earth was the show that came out last year. It's both on Netflix. Check them out. Lost. Been rewatching Lost. Got to the end of season 5. Man, there's some shit I had forgotten about. And this show actually does explain a lot more than I gave it credit for. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's so much that was not explained." It's like, no, they go to great lengths.
I just don't think it's rewarding in what they explain.
That's exactly right. The things they end up explaining.
That's how I remember it. Yeah.
Okay, the mysteries are just more interesting. Like, that's the thing about it. The more you find out, the less interesting it becomes. It's a Michael Myers scenario. But the action of it is still fun, and I'm getting a good nostalgia trip from it. I've been watching Detroiters, which is the what is his name? Shit. Oh no, what is his fucking name? Tim Robinson and Sam. Oh my god. Detroiters. I'm gonna look it up. It's a comedy show.
The dude from Werewolves Within.
Yeah, Sam Richardson. Tim Robinson and Sam Richardson. Very bizarre, strange kind of humor, like silly shit. Very silly, very, very much on par with what you see in I Think You Should Leave and Tim Robinson's other stuff. And I assume some of Sam's other stuff as well, but I see him a lot in like supporting roles on things, less so than leading his own shit. That's all I have seen is what I mean. He could definitely do that himself. Anyway, it's a fun show is the short version of that. And then 2 more things. Severance came back, season 2, episode 1. That show just keeps surprising me with shit. Like the approaches it takes are very fucking surprising. best show on TV right now, probably though. Like, still saying it.
Are they doing like episode by episode type of deal?
They are, which I am so thirsty for that kind of release schedule.
Randy's a thirsty boy.
Yeah,
I'm a thirsty boy who's
Thirst
not a
trap
cunning
Randy.
linguist. So
Short tongue Randy.
I'm screwed.
Capitalist Randy. He wants them to milk him for all he's got. Hang on
I
to
just
that
want time to
subscription.
digest and talk with people about. That's the thing. I compare
Milk
that show
me,
a lot
Apple.
to Waltz.
Milk me.
Take me
Lost.
for every cent I have.
Milk me? Is that what you just said?
Milkman Randy.
Yeah, you do your own milking. I got that covered. Thank you very much. No, it's a fucking fabulous show, and I'm really happy to have gaps so that people can theorize a little bit. It feels like it'll feel like Lost did. I feel like the world
Those
needs
large gaps. Yeah, the
Needs those
world
gaps,
needs some gaps.
For Randy
you're just a filthy boy.
You dirty bird.
All right. Last but not least, I did watch this film, Juror Number 2. It's a Clint Eastwood film.
The rural juror. The rural
The
juror.
Rural Juror. Yeah.
Deuce.
It's a Clint Eastwood film. It's got Nicholas Hoult in the lead and Toni Collette. It's actually got a great cast. Fucking Toni Collette is in it. Who else? Fucking Kiefer Sutherland has a short role, and so does J.K. Simmons. It's a courtroom drama, kind of. And it's tough to get into what's interesting about it, but it's I saw it described. The reason I watched it is because I saw it described as a return to adult films, or films for adults. It's not a bombastic fucking movie. It's also not a porno, to be clear.
Well, then I'm not watching them.
Yeah,
I only watch
You've got
bombastic pornos.
That's all I watch.
only watch Beetlejuice, the porno. But yeah, no, this is a good movie. It's I don't know. It's tough to describe. I really don't know how to not spoil it. So I'm just gonna say, if you're down for sort of a sort of tense thing, if you like that show in Your Honor with Bryan Cranston, it's got a similar feel to that, in my opinion, from what I've seen of that show. Which is about 5 episodes or something. But there's courtroom drama. There's a lot of information that kind of comes out in the woodwork. There's a almost beat for beat remake scene that's almost a beat for beat remake of 12 Angry Men, but then it subverts that. It's pretty fucking interesting. I don't know. I don't know that I loved it, but I enjoyed it a lot, and it felt like something that it's not going to be for family night. It's going to be for mom and dad to chill out and watch one night.
This one ain't for the kids, says Randy.
Come to daddy.
Cool.
That's it.
That's it. All right, Juice.
That brain dump was all of it.
What you been watching?
I also finished Squid Game season Deuce, and that one I recorded a mini cast on it, so that'll be coming out at some point, and it's got some decent highs and some low lows. But yeah, I am curious about the third season coming out. I'm glad we don't have to wait super long to get it. And I don't really mind the gap necessarily. So I rewatched Strange Darling. That was a really fun rewatch. I mentioned before I watched that Wolfman from 2010, and yeah, I don't know, it got me kind of jonesing for some of those more less serious types of movies. It was better than I remember. Not great. It's still got its problems, but maybe just because I had watched this one that I just liked it significantly better. It's just more fun, I guess. But yeah, that one's got a cool transformation scene though. And I've been watching some Bourdain around meal times. Yeah, some good ones. They're starting to look dated now though. I am starting, even for 2013, I'll notice some of the styles and the shots and stuff. It's I'm like, whoa, really noticing the date on these, which is really weird to think about.
Tony rocking the lowrider jeans or some shit.
Yeah, just maybe the video quality or how it's edited. I don't know. I'm just noticing it more now. It's interesting. Yeah. But let's see. And then, is there anything else? Squid Games. No. Oh, no. I watched this this movie from last year. It's an Adam Sandler movie called Spaceman from last year, where Paul Dano is a giant spider. Have y'all heard of this? Yes.
No.
Are you sure you didn't dream this?
It is 2004 Netflix movie with Adam Sandler as an astronaut alone in space, and Paul Dano is a talking giant spider.
Sick.
Yeah, it's weird. For that strange premise, they try to play it really straight and serious. It's this like drama. It's this like emotional drama. It's
Weird.
dude, it's really weird. The spider does not look great. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's got this little talking mouth too in between his like it's weird. They made some choices in there. Yeah,
I approve of a weirdo flick.
It's weird. And if you like Adam Sandler in a serious role, I mean it's very serious and dramatic. But that's the premise. I don't want to spoil anything else. But yeah, I guess the whole premise is he's an astronaut that's going to. There's this. Something has happened, and you can like see it in Earth, like this cloud, like a gas cloud. You can see it in Earth, and he's an astronaut that's going to like collect samples of it to kind of like try to figure out like what it is or whatever. And Paul Dano is a giant spider. But yeah, I think that's all I've been watching that I can remember.
Dano's a giant spider,
and that is the time that it talks. Bob, what
that
you been
old
watching?
Chestnut.
Yeah, you know, story is all this time. Yeah.
Every day.
Classic tale. Bob, what you been watching?
A couple things. I watched this newer movie called A Real Pain. It is on Hulu.
Oh, I want to see that.
I liked it pretty good. It was written and directed and also starring Jesse Eisenberg. And it's got one of the Culkins, Kiernan, I think, is the one that's in it. They're the leads.
Yeah.
And they're cousins. And their grandmother passes away, and she's originally from Poland. So they travel to Poland to try and, they do like a World War II, like walking tour kind of thing. And then at the end of it, they go to their grandmother's childhood home and see where she grew up. Okay. And it's definitely a drama, pretty emotional. It's got like a little bit of comedy in it, but it's definitely a drama. Some pretty sad stuff, heavy topics for sure. But I liked it. It was good. I like both those actors quite a bit, and they did a good job. Other than that, really just been rewatching really The Boys. We finished season 4 for the first time and loved it. So we just went back to season 1 and started rewatching it from the beginning. Just because we had forgotten so much about it, but that show is fucking incredible. Season 4 is maybe the best season yet. I think that show is fucking great. Super funny, really raunchy, good shit.
That's hilarious because that's like definitely the minority opinion about season 4.
Really, I thought it was great.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
I think that it's great, but I also found myself on the losing end of that argument a couple times. Like, okay, well, whatever. People seem to. I think they're a little tired of the trick of the kind of tricks that they pull on that show. You know what I mean? The audacity and things like that. They're kind of pulling similar stunts over and over, and it's just diminishing returns. Probably.
That's fair. I mean, I guess that's a fair critique of it.
But I still enjoy it. So, I never took the show that seriously to begin with. So I kind of thought it was kind of there.
It's pretty good. Anyway, rewatching that. Also, in preparation for the new season of White Lotus, I rewatched the first 2 seasons of that because that show fucking slaps. I'm ready for season 3, which I think comes out in like February. I think it's a Valentine's Day release, actually, I believe. So there you go. That's really all I've been watching, though. Not a ton else. We do have 2 voicemails, so let's go ahead and jump into our Hotline Screams.
Hotline Scream.
If you guys are listening and would like to call and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. First up tonight, we're hearing from Jackie B. Let's hear what she's got to say.
What up, boys? It's Jackie B calling from Chicago. Happy New Year. Just got done listening to the Best of 2024 episode. Yeah, I don't know. Every year I look forward to those episodes, but I gotta say, my favorite part is just listening to you guys bitch about the worst movies. Oh man, I agree about Trap. Big pile of dog shit. I gotta say, Fuku was on my list of worst for this year. I think I just really overhyped it. Neon's got that good marketing, so I just think I went into it with way higher expectations than I should have. My top 3 of the year definitely got to be The Substance, got to be Nosferatu, and then I wanted to throw in a comedy in there, recommend Rap World. I know Andy's a big Conor O'Malley fan. That dude just fucking cracks me up. I don't know if it's like the fact that he's always yelling or always sweaty or what his deal is, but yeah, he's funny as hell. We got to see it at Music Box Theater. Then they did a Q&A afterwards with Conor O'Malley, and the first question he asked was, how many women are here with their boyfriends? And the amount of hands that shot up in that theater was just incredible. But it was a really great movie, and if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Really captures that early aughts internet vibe. So, yeah, if you liked Y2K, it's kind of got a similar vibe. But yeah, those are my top 3 of the year. I have a really hard time narrowing it down to 10. Every year I have this problem, but yeah, so those are my top 3. Thanks again for a great year, putting out some really good episodes, and looking forward to 2025. And I cannot wait for Overlook Film Fest. It's going to be a blast. All right, y'all, stay cool. Bye-bye.
Hell yeah. Overlook's going to be fucking fun. We're getting a little meetup going. So
Can't wait to meet you boys there again, just like last time when we all slept in that bed together. That was great.
Every time. Just 3 alphas, 1 bed.
That's not how that works.
I don't remember 3 alphas being there, but I don't know. I was kind of drunk, so
It was just me and the other 2.
You mean one too many hand grenades.
I have not heard of Rap World. I'm very shocked at myself.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that
either. One of my faves. Conor O'Malley, for those who aren't familiar, like he was a writer on Seth Meyers' show. I'm looking up some of the stuff he wrote on Joe Pera Talks With You. He wrote on How To with John Wilson. All these like sort of subversive comedy, like oddball comedies. He's getting his fingerprints in all of them. He was even in like Horace and Pete back when that came out. Like very briefly, but I don't know. His star is rising. You know what I mean? I didn't know there was a fucking movie called Rap World, though. I'm gonna have to check that out. He did release last year, or the year before last now, a short called The Mask about a guy basically going insane while wearing, doing and trying to make it. I'm trying to remember exactly the premise. Trying to make it in L.A., I think, by becoming the Jim Carrey character, The Mask, by wearing a rubber mask and going around and interviewing people on the street like a lunatic. Very fucking weird shit.
That's very weird. Yeah. Damn.
So I'm excited to hear about that. Thanks for the tip, Jackie.
Talked about a lot of weird shit tonight.
Yeah.
I'm glad somebody likes to just hear us bitch out there. That's cool.
I think probably
Besides us,
people prefer that.
It's very possible, yeah.
It's very, very marketable to bitch about things.
Yeah.
Speaking of bitching, you know what we didn't get to watch last year? Shelby Oaks. Whatever happened to that movie? Did it get released?
No, it got picked up. It's not released yet. Magnet releasing,
Okay,
right?
well, we'll save that for bitching.
It'll be
later this year.
Oh, yeah. We're just going to lay into it.
Probably.
Nah, I'm sure it's
It
fine.
says 2024 on IMDb, but that can't.
I mean, that's because it dropped in the festivals.
festivals.
It was at that one that we covered,
right.
but we couldn't get a copy of it. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling, Jackie. Definitely looking forward to chilling in NOLA with you for the Overlook Film Festival. Next up, we're going to hear from, I believe, Slytowski. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Hey, fellas. I don't have anything relevant to say as to the last few episodes. I haven't been keeping up too recently, but I just wanted to say and some episode, I think the Exorcist triple feature, Justin said, "Do me Pazuzu," and that has never left my mind since then. Keep chilling.
I don't remember you saying that, but it does sound like
that was like several years ago. Yeah.
Two Halloween specials ago. It was a triple feature. Yeah.
That was like 2 or 3 ago. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Do me Pazuzu. Get that tattooed on your ass.
Now that is an ass tat for sure.
Damn.
Oh, do me Pazuzu. Cool. Yeah. Thanks for calling, Slytoski.
This is a weird episode.
It is. That could have won the Hugh Janus Award for 2023 or 24, 20.
I know. I wonder if they're going to be posthumous awards. Should we?
Whoa, Janus.
Hugh, do you have the time to listen to our back catalog again?
500 plus episodes.
One more time.
God, do you have
so that we can get a 1 minute?
God, even an episode a day would take you how many? Like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, it would.
Easier choice. Don't listen.
Oh my God.
Thanks for calling, Slytoski. Always good to hear from you. Again, if you guys are listening, want to call and leave a voicemail for next week, hit us up at 904-638-3231. Any prompts you guys want to throw out for next week's show?
What are we doing these days? I don't even know.
A prompt. So here's a prompt. Early year horror. Like we were talking about how like January and February and sometimes March are kind of the pits. What are some of your biggest hits and biggest misses from theater going? Like, give me some of your horror movies that you went to see expecting nothing in this time of the year and being surprised happily by, no matter how long ago it was. Or vice versa, go ends like, oh, I was really excited for this. Then they released it in January, and it turns out it's because it fucking sucks. If you have that story, I want to hear about what movies you guys think are, more than anything, I would like to hear more movies that are worthwhile that flew under the radar because they were an early year release. But tell me either.
I have this strange feeling that like recently there was this like banger that got released in January. Was early. But yeah, that was like in 2021 when COVID, like those releases were weird. But I don't think it was January. It was like a March release, if I remember right.
Springtime.
I think so too.
Yeah, there's
we recorded it in February. We released it in February. They moved the episode.
That seems strange. Okay.
I thought it was a spring release for some reason. Yeah, I feel like January used to be the dumping ground, and I think it probably still is in some situations. But yeah, you get bangers thrown in January now every once in a while. So
yeah,
solid prompt. Yeah,
Glass came out in January.
So that just breaks that trope.
Yeah, it's exception makes the rule.
Skinamarink was released pretty early. I feel like
it was. That was a January or maybe a February, but it was a January, February. I like that one. At least that I know that's a divisive movie, but I liked it.
Yeah. The latest issue of Fangoria actually had an article about this in there. It was called like In Defense of January Horror or something like that, and it listed.
Oh no shit!
Listed a handful. The only one I can remember off the top of my dome was, I believe, Underworld was a January release.
Hell yeah!
That proves nothing.
But yeah, Skinamarink came out January 13th, so I'd put that on the list.
Yeah. Man.
Underworld, hell yeah. That's a good defense right there.
Call in and let us know.
Good defense for fucking aborting film before they released.
I can't believe with as much shit Randy talks about a movie that we haven't covered it yet. That and Queen of the Damned.
Yeah.
I've only seen the one Underworld. Which
You've never seen OG Underworld? Are you serious?
No, I have no interest in it.
I don't think I knew that.
It does not suck.
I'm sure you did.
Cover it.
It's so good.
It's come up so many times.
We should cover that. We should do a triple feature of shit Randy.
How much breathy breathing is in the movie?
Keep telling Caitlin she keeps eventually we're going to cover it with on this podcast year after year. We just have to disappoint.
We got one coming up with Caitlin that I think will be a lot of fun to do. But
that's right. I forgot about that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. We'll
and
get to
you
that.
Can't know what it is.
Whoa. Tease for like 3 months later.
That's
or wait, no, is it? And then like, oh yeah, it is. Okay. I forgot why we were covering it.
Yeah. So yeah, call in 904-638-3231. Next week we're doing our first Patreon pick of 2024. This one was chosen by your boy Luke. The movie is Elves from 1988. And this one is really easy to watch because it is on YouTube for free in its entirety. I don't know if you can rent it or stream it anywhere else. I want to say you can't.
Wait, where'd you say it was, Bob?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, on YouTube. Thank God. Okay.
Yeah, for free. And I know this thing is like out of print on disc as fuck, so you can't buy it anywhere. So if it wasn't on YouTube, we just wouldn't.
And it's a Christmas movie.
I believe.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
What have we agreed to?
So excited! I'm so excited that Justin's going to watch an unseasonably
like a month late.
Christmas
What the
movie.
fuck?
What the fuck?
We've done it a few times.
Yeah. None of us have seen this one before, but Luke did mention that it's interesting even outside of the Christmas elements. So that he was down for us to talk about it out of season. So check out Elves on YouTube 1988 for free. Get ready for next week's show. We're on all the social media platforms. Just search Straight Chilling Podcast and we'll pop right up. And if you do want to join in our daily Slack channel conversations, let us know on one of those social media platforms. I'll send you a link so you can join in on the fun and read the absolute book of a conversation that we just had about red rooms on.
Oh yeah.
Cool. I think that's going to do it for us here at Straight Chilling. Until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
Werewolf Bar Mitzvah.